GameBreaker TV.
You are watching the first and longest-running new media broadcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. Welcome to GameBreakers The Republic. You will never need to listen to any other Old Republic podcast ever again. Oh, who were they kidding? They're just a bunch of nerds geeking out about the Old Republic on the internet. But here's your host, a little short for a stormtrooper. It's Larry Everett.
Hey everybody, this is Larry Everett, and you are watching the 191st episode of The Republic. I'm going to call it the Battle of the Beards today, and because and my guest is laughing at me. I'll go ahead and introduce him. This is all the way from somewhere on the internet. This is Kyle, aka TechnoScald. How are you doing today?
You waited to have the Battle of the Beard until like a week after I trimmed mine, because it was down to my here.
Yeah.
Until like a week ago, and I was like, it's too much. So he's like, okay, now I'll have the battle.
But it's Movember. It's No Shave November. Movember and November. Yeah. See. Yeah. So it's fitting. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll give you a couple weeks. We'll have Chuck from Bad Feeling Podcast.
I'm not that, and neither are you.
No, there's no way. There's no way. But yeah, I don't. Unless he, for some reason, has trimmed his, which I don't think he has. I mean, come on. You have something that magnificent on your face.
He does like competitions and stuff.
Does he really? I didn't know he did competitions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he does.
Oh my goodness.
So that's not happening.
Yeah, that's not happening. Maybe we could have Charles Boyd, the lead writer from the Trooper story from Star Wars: The Old Republic. Now he has.
Could you get the senior designer? Oh no.
We'll talk about that. We're missing a system designer now in Star Wars: The Old Republic. We had one leave, and let's see what else we also have 3.0 coming up, and I'm going to ask everybody that's in the chat room. I have a few questions that we can banter on about. And also, but I do want to hear your questions in the chat room. I do want to hear your questions, what you have about Shadow of Revan. Obviously, I mean, we don't know anything, but what's one of the things that really happened, and I want to kind of get into this with Shadow of Revan, and I'm actually on board with this. One of the things that it seems that the community team is kind of doing, and I guess because they don't really have a PR team, or at least not a real heavy PR team anymore, is that they're kind of giving a little bit of information over here, a little bit of information over there, and this podcast will have something, this fan site will have something else, and those kinds of little bit, which I am totally on board with that. I think that, spread the love, give a little here, give a little there. And one of the things that, but what happens then is it makes it difficult to process all the information. It gets a little more difficult to know what is the truth, what is not. So we're going to talk about that today. And I think first off, if nobody knows this yet, I did a piece on Massively that basically broke down all the frequently asked questions, and we're gonna kind of go through them really quickly here. But first off, I would like to mention the release date for Shadow of Revan, because I don't think we mentioned that on this show. It's really strange that we have not mentioned that on this show. It is December 9th, and if you have pre-ordered, and if you pre-ordered before November 3rd, which was last week, by the way, you can get in on early access for December 2nd.
This week.
Well, it was November 3rd. Well, yeah, Monday. Sorry, it was this week. Yeah. So
anyway, It's too late. Either way.
It's too late. Well, it was kind of like Sunday night. It was November 3rd at 2 or 3 a.m. So, Sunday night. Depends on when you start your week.
So you said December 9th? That's good. I was afraid it was December 2nd, and I was going to be...
It is December 2nd. Well, the early access is December 2nd. That's when that starts.
Okay. Yeah, so, I'll be missing the first few days.
It's all right. We'll forgive you.
Yeah, I'm not going to move it.
Yeah. We just won't have you on the show that week. That's all. Because we know how important that is. It's punishment.
Yeah. Again, you needed a pretty face this week.
Right. I can't support it all by myself. Anyway. Okay, so December, and then and the other thing that is a commonly asked question that I hear off and on is, do you have to subscribe to play Shadow of Revan? And the answer to that question is really simply no. You don't. You don't have to subscribe. It's really kind of. I mean, I know that's kind of crazy to think about. It's a commonly asked question. I messed that up. Sorry about that, guys. You didn't hear that, Kyle, but everybody else did.
Okay.
So, no, you don't have to subscribe. It's for everybody, free to play players, whatever. It does. However, if you did pre-order and or if you're ordering before the launch, actually you can order now and still get 12x XP. If you do have to subscribe to get the 12x XP. That's the only stipulation as far as subscription is concerned. So
there are a lot more. Well, I guess that automatically makes you prefer it anyway, not truly the standard free-to-play.
Right.
Because you'll have given them money at that point, and that puts you in that category. And that's fine. There are a lot more of those players than I actually realized up until the last couple of days.
I'm actually kind of, you know what, now you mention it, I'm kind of surprised at how well preferred players actually can get by and play the game very well. I mean, you think about it, let's say you just do operations, and that's all you ever do, and that's like $7, and $7 is it a week? No, it's not a week. No, it's like $7 a month, something along that line, and you can just do your operations and you're all set. I mean, most everything else you can buy from the cartel market. The only issue that I have that I've heard people run into is money. Money becomes a little bit of an issue because I had that really stupid low cap that I hope they fix here pretty soon. So
that's the only thing really that would keep me from going preferred, which maybe is why they do that. I'm thinking about my sub is up in February, and I've never been unsubsubbed for more than a couple of hours when there's been like a credit card issue. Like I had a credit card expire, and when they went to go re-up, they're like, "Oh, you can't use this card anymore." So I've never really been unsubbed from the game since launch. But I'm thinking about it, just
to see what
I'm
it's
not leveling
like,
anymore.
You're not leveling?
I'm not leveling anymore.
You're not.
Well, I'm doing a few right now.
Oh, okay,
I'm using a few of the 12x XP, but that's really just. I don't even know why I'm doing it. I have not as many as some people that we know. I understand, but I've got 9 or 10 55s at this point.
Yeah, I've got at least the first page and into the next page. Well, how many?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
right? It's 8 on the first page.
It's 8 on the first page,
yeah.
So I've got about 10 of them myself now. So
yeah.
You
get all the base class stories, and then it's good enough. I have 2 juggernauts.
Well,
I don't mean 2 warriors. I mean I have 2 juggernauts.
I have 3 warriors and 2 marauders.
Yeah, I hate marauders and sentinels. That's the one class that I just refuse.
Yeah, I love that class. That's the only class for me. And yeah,
too many bootans.
So the next thing is, will we fight Revan?
Of course we will.
Of course we will.
Of course we will. You don't name the expansion Shadow of Revan.
But it's just
show his gigantic holographic head, and then say. But that would have been like if at the end of, Mists of Pandaria, when you have the Siege of Orgrimmar and WoW, they're like, oh, but you're not actually going to fight what's his orc? Yeah, that's... Sorry, I've had some beer tonight. But that's the thing, Garrosh. That's the thing is, of course we're going to fight Revan. And I'll be glad so we can just be done with that dude and move on to interesting stuff. Because since I was not 12 when the game came out, I'm not like a huge Revan or Maul fan.
Whoa, wait a second. Wait a second. You're not a Revan fan. You don't, but he is like
I'm not,
for BioWare, he's like the quintessential figure. He is, in fact,
for BioWare. I'm not BioWare.
Well, for BioWare games, he is in fact you in KOTOR. You are Revan, right?
In KOTOR 1, yes.
Yeah. And so I mean, I don't know. I think that he's.
So I'm gonna go fight myself.
Well, that's the thing. That's why initially I thought that, okay, well, there is this possibility that they just won't they won't have you fight Revan, because that would be weird, fighting yourself, if you will. I don't know, but honestly, I mean, all things point to it being Revan. Charles Boyd even said that he is the big bad, and if you go into an expansion where here's your big bad, and they pretty much lay it out for you, and then you don't fight him, that'd be just weird.
Well, okay, now to be fair, I mean, and Kursar mentions in the chat, and yeah, definitely, I mean, this is going to end the Revan story arc. To your point and to Kursar's point, that doesn't mean that we fight Revan. It means that it wraps up the story. And there certainly could be some sort of redeeming where Revan doesn't get fought, or you fight him but you don't actually kill him, kind of like in the Flashpoints. But that kind of... No, he needs to rejoin the Force. We'll get him as a blue glowy for good and be done. And he can go wait for Episode 7.
Get him as a blue glowy companion. He just follows you around. Right
now, there is somebody at Electronic Arts Marketing going, oh,
good idea.
Kezidora, you thought so?
Yeah, I thought, honestly,
I thought so too.
I thought so too. I thought that was it. That was like, okay, here's the end. I honestly, and I think I believe, I said this to Justin on an earlier episode of The Republic. I thought I said I thought it was kind of ending for Revan. It was kind of a weird ending.
It was a good ending. Okay, you don't really you don't kill him per se. He stops. He's like, okay, and he says he rejoins the Force. And yeah, okay, nobody. I don't know. I'm just saying that I'm ready for Revan to be done. And we can go back and... What was it? Was it you that posted in your FAQ that we're going to go back to focus on the Emperor later? Like post-Revan or whatever?
Well, yeah, here's... this was... And this actually... I said this in the fact that one of the things that Charles Boyd said, he kind of let one thing slip. He kind of let slip that what this... Right. I don't know if he let it slip or not. But at any rate, he said that this allows, and when I asked about Empire and Republic stories, he let slip that there will always be, he said, Viditate, which is the Emperor's real name. So, so he said there's always going to be Viditate as the big bad. So I'm assuming, this is just based off of what he said, that's going to be the big bad probably from now on.
I know what happens.
What happens?
At the end of Shadow of Revan, we're going to defeat Revan, and he's going to say, you're right, I need to focus on fighting the Emperor, and he's going to go off to the unknown regions and be unheard from as he goes to find the Emperor. Wait.
Yeah, I think we might have already done that before. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. Either way.
Well, how do you? Okay. Let me ask this about on that same subject about the Emperor being the big bad. Let's let's assume that he is the big bad from now on, after Revan. How do you feel about that? As I know you're more of a Republic player. I know me as an Imperial player.
I'm both.
Oh, okay. So
the Republic are the good guys, but flawed. The Empire are the bad guys, but sympathetic.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you feel about him being the big bad from now on?
I think that's fine because I've been disappointed in all of my Imperial storylines that you can never truly join one of the break-off factions. You couldn't, like with Darth Malgus, when Malgus is like, we're going to reform a new empire, and you can't say, yeah, let's do that. And with the agent, and you uncover a conspiracy, and you can't say, you know what, that's a good idea. I think I'm going to support that. And in any of them, you can't be like, oh, with the Dread Masters, and they give you the chance, like, come join us, and you can't say, why not? Yeah, the railroading is... So, in any case, yeah, the Emperor... Okay, the Emperor's got to go at this point. I feel like it's fair to say that he is an evil person, even in the sense beyond what most Sith want, right?
All right, I'll take that. Okay, so here's the thing. As far as lore is concerned about the Emperor, he just to give a little bit background, he was born. His birth name was Tenebrous. He was given the name Darth Viditate by well, not Darth Viditate. It was Lord Viditate, actually, by doesn't really matter. By Marka Ragnos, and he was then, I forget the name of the planet now off the top of my head. And this was when he was like 13 years old. When he was 13 years old, he gained control of this planet, and they kind of lived in almost this seclusion kind of thing. And then in order to gain more power, he stripped the planet of life. And then he went and joined and gathered up the rest of the Empire and kind of went from planet to planet to planet until they settled on Droma Kos, just kind of fleeing the Republic. So that's Viditate, pretty much in a nutshell, if you will. He's a bad guy. He will consume life just to gain power.
He wants to destroy all life in the galaxy for his own power. And I feel like others would be like, whoa, that's too... I mean, I don't think Darth Maul is going to go for that.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is the Emperor's actually a bad guy. I don't like, and I'm hoping this was just kind of like him speaking off the cuff, saying this person will always be the big bad, because that tells us you're never going to get a final resolution.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. SWTOR 2 is coming out in 2017. I mean...
So, I don't know how I feel about that, really, honestly. I mean, because...
how you feel about the Emperor being the bad guy?
Right, the Emperor being the big bad over everything. I think that okay, and this is the reason why I have issue with that, and it has nothing to do with what he wants. I just feel like I feel like I'm playing the same story over and over again.
Okay, so I'll say a couple of things about that. First, they gotta. I mean, the way this game is developed, they want to have a big overarching story, right? And so, yeah, they are kind of reusing this trope of, oh, here's this person that wants to take over the whole galaxy, and you have to go fight. But that's kind of like the story of Star Wars, right? There's always some next bad dude who wants to take over the galaxy, and you have to go stop them, and that's okay. By the way, you totally heard it here. Darth Zash is actually the one that's coming back.
That's right. It's the Shadow of Revan. The Shadow of Revan is actually Darth Zash. Yeah.
Right. She figured out how to possess Revan. She got out of Kimval.
Yeah. Totally
did I just spoil like the first chapter of the Inquisitor storyline?
Sorry, guys. Spoiler alert. But No.
Okay.
I feel that. Okay, so here's a thing though that they have done in the past that doesn't follow that same trope. The shroud.
See, okay. Here's the other thing, and this is I've talked about this in the show. I guess what was it like last week or the week before? I've had too much beer since I don't remember if it was a week or two ago. Is I am tired in all games. This is true of WoW. This is true of Tor. It's true of other games. Of okay, the whole game was organized along two separate factions, and then all the content is those two factions. That all the other starting stuff is against each other. Now at the end game, you have to work together to fight an even bigger third threat. Stop that.
Yeah.
Let the Republic and the Empire fight each other. As we've seen with the Forged Alliances storyline, you can have the same base content, reskin some NPCs, and use it, both ways so it makes sense, like they do with Korriban and Tython. Do more of that. I don't know, some new PvP content, or is that asking too much? And let the war actually be about the war and not here's somebody else that we both have to fight.
All right, and as the chat room was pointing out to me, I was pronouncing that incorrectly. It's Vitiate. Is how you say his name. Vitiate. It looks like
okay.
That's why I couldn't.
Like in Vitiate. Well, okay, that makes sense because you have Darth Vader from Invader, Darth Sidious from Insidious, and a couple of others, and now you have Vitiate from Invitiate, which is another one of those words where I read it all the time, but I don't always know how to pronounce it because I see it in text.
N equals Darth. N equals Darth. Did you ever see that? That's an old. Oh my God, that's so old.
Oh, okay. I always thought it was Darth Vader because it was, Vader is the German word for father. Vader.
No, I thought it was
father, and it was the
Invader.
Invader, like Space Invaders, and it was. See what he did there? He used it from multiple angles, multiple levels.
Insidious.
Yeah, Insidious. See? There was others I forget now.
Anyway. we digress.
What else we have?
Sorry about that. We digress. All right, so
come on, that's what I want to join. That's what I was hoping.
See,
so actually, okay, so this is what I thought. So Floridon makes an outstanding point. Before they announced the expansion, when we were still doing the Korriban and Tython flashpoints, and the one guy you killed was like, "Oh, the old man was right about me. Was he right about you too?" And all of this, I was like, Starkaball! We're going to have a Starkaball expansion. They're like, no. We're going to have that Mary Sue fanboy love Revan.
Yeah. And yes. War Historian in Revan. That totally makes sense. In Revan. In Revan, yeah. Although I think that was a porn somewhere.
Fan fiction.
Fan fiction. I think I wrote that fan fiction.
I think I wrote that fan fiction. No, I'm just kidding.
So, anything else about the big bads that you can think of? I mean, I know. We are in Yavin.
Malgus was coming back.
Malgus is coming back.
Malgus is coming back after the whole Revan storyline, but Malgus is not done.
Probably. Maybe
for the same reason that Revan's not done. You don't actually see him die.
Okay. We do have Masasi, which isn't a really nice thing. And we know for certain that there is a Masasi that it's saying that like Mississippi. Masasi, or Massassi if you're from Texas. We know that
the dude from Missouri.
Yeah, it says the dude from Missouri. We know that Masasi is a raid boss. We know that for certain because we've seen a picture of about 8 people standing around Masasi. So, I'm honestly thinking. See if you agree with me on this one. I think that the Masasi is going to be more like it's probably going to be like Nefra from Dread Fortress. The guy that was guarding the gate. I think there
was not a guy. First of all,
he was a bug. Oh, Nefra was a she? I don't know. I'm just.
Brontes tells you that a bunch of times. She will exact her total blood.
Oh,
and all that. No, it's very clear. Nefra is a female.
I'll give you that.
Nefra's a female. There's my Texas accent for you, War Story. I'm gonna Thought Light was true. My kids hate it when I do that. They're like, Dad, that's not your voice. Anyway, so yeah, maybe, and you also have Grobthok. Yeah, basically, he's a big henchman. This Masashi, this thing is a big henchman. Yeah, fine.
And I didn't know Nephra was. Honestly, it didn't matter to me.
Yes, you did.
I just
talked about it.
Well, maybe so, but I only saw Nephra as a bug. That's pretty much it.
Too many
giant
wine coolers.
Wine coolers. I don't drink wine coolers. I don't know what you're talking about. I actually don't drink wine coolers. It's kind of gross. Okay, so I don't know. Have you paid much attention to the? I guess the only thing that's really been said about it. I mean, I know that SWTOR Minor is leaking stuff about the actual classes themselves. Honestly, I'm not paying attention either, so I don't know what he's leaked and whatnot. So, but we do know that you do get new abilities because of the way the discipline system is set up, and we do know that that we do have a level increase. But Rob Hinkle actually said last week on the stream. Rob Hinkle is the combat designer, lead combat designer. He's actually been there. He's been there since the beginning. So he hasn't been in that position. He took over. Did he take over? I think he took over right after Georg Zoller, or maybe there was one other person in between him. But anyway, he's been there for a while. All right. So he was going over a few things, and he said that that the actual damage increase from 55 to 60 is not going to be anywhere. Is not going to be too much different than what you're not going to see too much difference now. I mean, from 50 to 55, huge difference in damage, really, when it comes down to it. I mean, because we can now, through Eternity Vault, Nightmare, we can just walk through it pretty much now at this point. And
so they still want, like, Dread Palace Nightmare to still be somewhat challenging, even when you're at 60. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Well, that's good, because I'm tired of suddenly, like right now, we have a limited amount of content because there's all this old level 50 content that's boring now, except if you're doing it for conquests.
Right. Well, still, it's even. I mean, it's a walk in the park. It's just like you.
Yeah, but I don't mind it. Like when I'm getting something out of it. Like right now, I run all those planetary heroics for conquest points and I feel like a superhero going through it, but it's fun.
I have. Okay, I'm fine with that for maybe like story mode and for even for hard mode, but for nightmare mode, you're just not thinking about mechanics at all. It's just kind of ugh. It's I don't know.
So this is good. It's a way of keeping content relevant.
Yeah.
So that's good. I am concerned in some ways about what that is going to mean. Well, I'm just... Okay. The thing is, I'm less concerned about the numbers. I don't care about the numbers. If you're like, oh, I like seeing big numbers pop up. And that's great. That's what's fun for you, and I'm not saying it's dumb. I'm saying that it just doesn't get me going. So what I'm more interested in is, honestly, do I feel like I've pumped up a little bit? Oh, the other thing is, okay, so right now you've got people at varying gear levels of 55, right?
Right.
You've got people in full 180s, and you've got people who get there and they're still like in their leveling quests and they're questing blues and greens that are like 128, 130 something, whatever. And as time goes on, other people who level in the future, which is not going to be me ever again, still need to be able to do the level 56, 57 content at those lower levels. So I guess what I'm saying is that I'm concerned about with the gear progression. This is such a gear-driven game. What that's going to mean when we get to the level 186, 192, 198 stuff. That's going to be, or is 186 the top level now? I don't know. I don't do the full high-end rate.
186. 186 is top right now.
Okay.
So So what 192 or I don't know. I don't remember what it is and what people have said it is on Tester. But anyway, I think, and you're right. I think that one of the things that I don't like about the current game, about the way it is from 50 to 55. It's actually from 55 to raid gear. Let's get real. From 55 to raid gear, you're talking. Most people have. If you just look at, if you use endurance or hit points as a basis for the rest of the stats, because hit points are really easy to see. It's really easy to see and go, oh, that guy has. Okay, so
he's got 40,000.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're talking somebody that is a fresh 55 has like 16,000, something along that line. It can be a little bit more,
but let's say 20 for round numbers.
All right, yeah. So let's say 20.
So you're looking at about a doubling.
Exactly.
Overall of HP, and I think it's fair to say, based on what we've seen in terms of DPS numbers from parsing and whatever, you get about a doubling there as well. Yeah. So if that doubles again, if that were to double again, which it sounds like it's not, we would be like at 80,000 health and doing like 7,000 DPS.
Right, and
that would be ridiculous. Now, if it's a linear increase, you're going to get another 10 or 15k of health and another, 1k or whatever of DPS. Then fine. That's okay. That it also has some level of impact, I think, in terms of, okay, so like right now when you're gearing up, right? People now, the way you gear at level 55 has changed over the course of the expansion, right? Because now the idea is you go to Oricon, and as you go through the quests, you get a full set. But man, when you go to Oricon in fresh questing blues and greens, and especially if you're like level, well, you have to be level 55. So you're level 55, man, and you're trying to solo that stuff, it can be rough, especially for some classes more than others. But that can be really rough. So it'll be interesting to see, over time, in 3.0 or in 3.x, I guess, how that develops.
Yeah, and no, of course you've skipped. Okay, so to Dan Dune's point here, the level 50 mods and whatnot that you can get with planetary comms. We're basically just talking about the blues that you get as you level up, or maybe have bought.
And you have a lot of players who are just quest. They're not doing all the other extra optimization, and that's okay. I mean, they're not looking to raid, clearly. Right? Or you're leveling so fast that you don't want to take the time and gear up. You're like, why would I take half an hour and go do that?
Exactly.
In half an hour I can have middle level.
The thing is though, it takes time to go back and get the gear and whatnot when you can frankly just barrel through this stuff. It's not like the leveling up content is that difficult when it comes down to
especially on McKeb.
Yeah.
And especially now that we have bolster on McKeb and that's the other thing. So you bolster, you get to 48 or whatever it is, I forget. You bolster on the McKeb, you blow through that content, and now you're 55, and then you're going to Oricon, and you're still in the same 47 level gear.
Yeah.
So, in other words, the point being, if they're not ratcheting stuff up that much, that's fine for me. I want to see the new story content. I want to see the new gear looks more than anything else, actually.
Well, speaking of that, they are going to have this is not replacing. This is one of the things that was actually mentioned in the comments of my article is the solo. They're having solo flashpoints. And we can extract. Actually, we know for the solo ones that they are going to be the Forged Alliance flashpoints. Right. So. And they
want to make sure everybody can see it.
Right, sure. Exactly. And just so everybody's aware, this does not mean that the solo ones are replacing the existing ones. You can still do the existing ones through Group Finder, through the quest. You can do them through regular questing, whatever. They don't replace them. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, you can only do them once. I remember somebody saying
you did say that. We'll see what happens when it actually. Yeah. That seems to me like the sort of thing that could be subject to change.
Yeah.
Like that's the sort of thing where they could be like, people want to do it again and see different options and whatever. In which case, I say queue for the tactical. Come on, but whatever. But,
right. Okay.
Some people really don't like grouping even that way, so it's fine.
So they're solo, and the way that they're doing it is which I think is pretty stinking awesome. It's a different way of doing it. I know it's kind of, it seems a little bit tacked on, but I think it's still pretty neat. What they're going to give you is a droid that fills all the roles. So it is a healer, it is a tank, it is a DPS. It'll do all three of those. So
it's Treek.
Kind of. It kind of is. Which is...
Treek can solo so much stuff anyway, so it's fine.
But this, I think, is fine. I think that is a... I know some people are already soloing those flashpoints, even though they're tacticals, but this is... Yeah, I know. But there are people...
Wow. There's a few bosses that's really impressive about. Okay, but that's the thing is you have a certain play style, and in some games I am this person who really never wants to group.
Yeah.
You know, and in SWTOR in particular, you have those players because of the way this game has been sold. As if you want KOTOR 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on,
well,
then you play this.
To that
people who
to that point, one of the things that James Olin said, did I mention that? Gosh, I really don't think I mentioned that.
I don't know. I don't read what you're right.
I know. I feel bad if I didn't. But one of the things that James Olin said is that they were getting feedback from players that what they're wanting out of this game is KOTOR 3, and one of the things
I wonder why.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
That's what we were promised.
He said basically what Shadow of Revan is going to do is going to allow BioWare, us, give the audience KOTOR 3. So
does that mean 4.0 is the Exile?
Sure.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Continue.
So it's given KOTOR 3. So the Forged Alliance kind of thing, and the reason why they're given this solo content is so that people can experience, people that like the KOTOR series and want to kind of finish it off. Here you go. You can do all the relevant content you can do as a single player game if you want to. Which
just about. Yeah, well, you still need for the earlier level flashpoints. You still got to group up. The earlier ones that.
Well, okay, so. I mean, I guess so, sure. But, I mean, the thing is, I don't necessarily think that the early level flashpoints are necessarily relevant overall to the KOTOR story. Not the SWTOR, not the Star Wars The Old Republic story, but the Knights of the Old Republic story, which started with Revan and ends with Revan.
I disagree. And here's why. When Revan leaves at the end of KOTOR 1, right? And we find out in KOTOR 2, Revan disappeared to go hunt down the Emperor, or not the Emperor, the Sith, or whatever that was, right? And at that point, we don't know what happens, and we find out, well, I guess maybe it's in books. I don't read the books.
It is in one of the books, but yeah, okay.
Okay, but from a game perspective, the way you find out what happened to Revan, from a game perspective, is that you play through that, and they're like, he went and fought the Emperor for 300 years and was captured, and finally, you have the Troll 5, and you have the Foundry, and all that stuff. So I think you've got a lot of people who are, this is how they want to find out about what happened to Revan, so it's okay. I mean, this is going to sound terrible. The expansion hasn't come out yet. I'm already tired of Revan.
I don't know. I want to see. I definitely want to see the story as far as that's concerned. So
I just want that jacket.
The jacket. Oh,
from
Theron
Shan.
Theron,
I want Theron's jacket. That's all I really want. I want my fighter pilot.
That's
right.
all. That's all that really matters.
Yeah.
So, we've got solo flashpoints, and now also have hard mode flashpoints. 4 of them. And I don't think it'll be a surprise to anybody to find out that the hard mode flashpoints are going to also be the Forged Alliance. Go ahead. And we are, by the way, this is based off of a couple of things. This is not a leak. This is not. Because they have not said for certain that
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have not said for certain that it's Tython Korriban, Manon, and Rakata Prime. They have not said for certain that is that. However,
But
that being
what did
said,
they say?
They said that there is no Call of Cold War games. They can't do that. So that
Right, I saw that.
right. So that would mean then that they likely will not do Red Reaper either. So you could probably rule those out, and the only one left is KDY. And let's be fair, I don't think they want to touch KDY again. So
No,
that only leaves.
that's not KDY is 4. Oh, that also leaves us aren't we getting new flashpoints? Because honestly, if we get an expansion, and from a story perspective, the only new flashpoints that we have in here are ones we've already seen, that's going to be really annoying.
No, they said
because
we are.
I've already seen those.
Yeah, we are getting 2 new flashpoints. Two brand new flashpoints.
Okay, brand new, like nothing that's on live at all in any form right now.
I mean,
that's good. So those are going to be hard modes too, in some fashion, right?
I don't know.
Maybe there will be a tactical version. I don't know, but I can't imagine they're going to have them not hard mode at all.
I don't know.
All right.
They haven't said. I mean, it's very possible, I guess, that there's hard modes of those, but they've only said that there are 2 new flashpoints, and they did not say. If I might be completely wrong about this. Let me double check that. I know there's 2 new flashpoints, but that's all they said. Actually, it doesn't say that they've said whether they're hard mode or whether they are solo mode or whether they're anything.
Yeah. One of the great things about not being in beta, I can say whatever I want. Now, that said, one of the reasons, for me, it's actually, like, the NDAs that are in place on the people who are in beta are to protect people like me who don't want it. Like, I want to find out the stuff when it releases.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I don't want to burn out on the content before it's even on live and be like, I've already played through this 6 times. Why do I want to play through it again? So that's part of the thing, right, is that, like, oh, the stories we see on, so that's why, like, I ignore SWTOR minor. It's not a moral stance either way. You reverse engineering stuff, great, more power to you. But A, that stuff can change. B, I'm not that worried about, oh, look, they're going to have a 5% buff to this, and I'm not that much of a min-maxer. I mean, I try to play well. I try to play, classes properly, but yeah, man, I got a life. I can't be a nerd like the rest of us. Wait.
Yeah, too late, man. Too late.
Too late. Yeah.
Too late for that one. All right. So we know we got 2 new flashpoints. We know we have 4 hard modes. We're assuming that they're the Forged Alliance ones because
that would make sense. I mean, they should.
I swear that they have mentioned in the past that it would be that there are hard modes. Maybe this was a leak of not a leak, but a data mine of SWTOR miner before 3.0 was on PTS. Maybe, I don't know, but anyway,
to me it makes sense. You have, I mean, as you play through them, you can see where, hey, the mechanics here are challenging enough. If you had a hard mode version of this, then this would be really interesting.
Yeah. All right.
What else?
So operations. We got 2 of them.
Have they announced anything about them?
Nope.
I mean, other than that, we know that there's a Masashi that we got to fight.
We know that one of them.
Well, there's 2 planets, so I'm assuming one's on Rishi and one's on Yavin 4. That's my assumption.
We know that one for certain is on Yavin 4. We know that for sure.
Well, if I don't get a space pirate hat drop. No, it's going to be a cartel market. Nobody's fooled.
What do you mean? You mean the
tricorner? The
tricorner thing?
Tricorner's going to be a cartel market. Are you kidding? We already know that, don't we?
That it's cartel. No, we don't. Well, no, we know that those tricorner hats exist. We don't know how they get them. That's not been announced.
Okay. I don't even know why I want it. I'll probably never wear it, but I want to have it.
But it is cool. They are really cool looking. I'll give you that.
I don't usually wear the big sombrero hats either, but I like having them.
Yeah.
And I sure don't wear the star fedora, but I have it.
But speaking of cartel market items, we do know one thing, that it's not in 3.0. Just to be perfectly clear, it will not launch with 3.0. It will not launch with Shadow of Revan. But we do know that Togruta is absolutely there. But I mean, we mentioned this last week though. So
yeah, we talked about this last week. That's old news, man. It's
yeah,
old
that is
dusty.
real
There's
news.
no new hotness.
Yeah. But just to be clear, one of the things that wasn't clear though is when is this thing coming out, and to be perfectly clear, it is not going to be with 3.0. We will not see it launch on December 9th. It will come sometime after that.
All right.
Yeah, I just want to because that's coming.
No Togruta Christmas presents. That's fine.
Yeah, sorry guys. So you
Operations.
Operations. Well, we do know one's on. Yeah, that's actually. I don't know that there's much more to say about that as far as operations. I mean, really, they haven't said anything. I mean, the only other speculation that's out there, and this is purely speculation, is do we fight and kill Revan during the operation or not?
I hope so.
No announcements.
I want that dude off of my plate so I can move on to more fun stuff.
Now, to be clear though,
we know he raised.
To be clear though, we don't necessarily have to fight and kill Revan during an operation, even if he's fought and killed off, right?
Man, I want to do that during some daily quest. I'm gonna have an achievement. How many times did I kill Revan solo with Treek? No. That Revan. Okay, as much as I don't like Revan, Revan should be an operation boss.
Well, okay. I hear you. I think you should definitely be an operation boss. However, he wasn't an operation boss in KOTOR.
Of course he wasn't, because KOTOR.
Yeah, no.
Single player game.
Well, that's kind of the thing that they're doing here, and that's one. I'm not sure what to think about.
Oh, I
see
what you're saying. If we get Revan as a companion, I will uninstall this game forever, and I will go play Hello Kitty online.
Yeah. I will probably join you on that one.
Okay, maybe not the Hello Kitty part may be an exaggeration, but I actually would be like, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna just go back and play D&D.
Another question that's come up quite a bit, and you can absolutely answer this question, I'm sure. 12 XP, is that enough to do just the story? Do you need anything else in order to do it?
Okay, well, I say that I can't say I have always. All of my characters that I have leveled with a 12x have all been in guilds that have the full 10%.
Mm-hmm.
And I typically used the free XP boosts that you get from the quests.
Right.
I mean, like, you finish certain class quests, and you're like, oh, here's a complimentary XP boost. Fine, I'll use that for the mobs.
Confirmed. Hello Kitty companion confirmed, by the way.
Yeah, you know what? I want Hello Kitty as a companion. Oh, that's Eric Jorgen. Never mind. So anyway,
go ahead.
Yeah, Eric Jorgen is my Hello Kitty. I want to put him a little. I just want any little bow
in his hair. Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Right, but anyway, the thing is, now I'm totally distracted. That you, now I have this image in my head of an assault cannon wielding Hello Kitty.
Hello Kitty with an assault cannon. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, the XP. Yes, because I've never had to go all the way through McKeb. I've barely gotten through halfway through McKeb on the characters that I've leveled. So if I needed to, I'm sure that I could, it's fine. It's absolutely fine.
I can say for certain, because I've done it at least once. I think only
I don't
once,
know. Have you done it without the guild XP?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I always join one of those guilds that like if I have like a secret-ish alt, or just I want an alt that I want to level and I don't want to deal with guild chat, I join one of those guilds that like takes everybody and disables guild chat just for the XP bonus. Like, it's literally called bonus XP. I have a couple of tricks on both sides.
The guild is called bonus XP.
The guild is called bonus XP, and there is no guild chat. I mean, like, literally, you can't. It's like, you don't have that permission. And which it avoids, like, spamming and stuff. It's literally just for that. And it's fine.
That's cool. I like that. That's a good idea. But anyway, I have done it. I now have a smuggler that's level 55 that I went from it was near 0. It was like 5 without a guild. And the only issue that I ran into, and I used the XP bonuses that came with the character. I actually did not have to purchase any XP bonus boosts or anything along that line. I used the ones that came with the character as you level up. So I mean, which is fair, right? That's not cheating. As far
right, that's part of the class content.
Yeah, it's part of the class content. So I used those, and I was able to get up to level 55. Now it took a little bit longer than normal because I had to go through Voss a couple more quests than I did on my previous characters that I had the XP boosts. But I was able to, at level 4.
I hit a couple more quests.
Okay, so
you should be doing the same amount of quests because you're just doing just the class quests.
No,
you had to do some extra non-class quests.
Okay, so this is what happens under normal circumstances. What will happen is I'll hit level 47. I say normal. I mean when I'm in a guild and getting the XP boosts and whatnot. Is I will get to Voss and I will have to do like 2 quests on Voss. I'll hit level 47 and then I'll go to McKeb.
I haven't had that problem.
You didn't have to go to Voss? I know some people that...
Yeah, you have to go to Voss for your class quest.
Yeah, I know some people that didn't go to Voss. They went like 1 quest in Voss, and that was about it.
So they went, but they went, I didn't have to do a lot, but I always have, you got to go through the shrine of whatever, and you got to go to the Nightmare Lands, and go.
Well, see, I didn't have to go that far. I never have to go that far. I never have to go to the Nightmare Lands, at least on my...
That depends on your class, though, I guess. Yeah.
On the few that I did that were in guilds, I did not have to go to Nightmare Lands on Voss ever.
On your warrior?
Right.
Yeah, you do.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't get that far. I didn't have to. I was level 47 before I went to Nightmare Lands.
Right, but don't you need to finish that quest to get to Corellia?
Well, yeah. Ultimately, I have to, but I don't have to. All I have to do is level...
then you went to McKeb. I see what you're saying.
Exactly.
Oh, no. I always go all the way through my class quests before I go to McKeb.
Oh, see, that's a waste of time to me. I mean, because...
No, I wanted to see it.
Well, if you want to do... Okay, all right. But just for leveling up purposes.
If it was a waste of time, I wouldn't be playing this game, which actually is kind of true. But it's, it's whatever.
But at any rate... So I didn't. I would do a couple. I did have to do a few more quests. I did have to go to the Nightmare Lands in order to get to level 47, so I could get to McKeb. But that ultimately, you can do it. And in fact, you don't have to finish the story quest. I
didn't finish the story quest. I mean, I didn't finish anything on McKeb. But once I hit 55, I was like, done. Next.
Yeah. All right. So that's that. I think. I do want to mention accommodations. Let me hold on. Before I get into accommodations, I do want to mention something really quick about the discipline system. They are going through during this month. We do have a schedule out, and it's not every Friday. It's like tomorrow is going to be one. Then there's going to be Thursday, and then Friday again, and then Wednesday the next week. So. Because
of holiday.
Right, because of holidays and whatnot. So, at any rate, they will go through every single class during November. So, and talk about the discipline systems. And hopefully by that time, Dolphy will have her calculator all filled out and ready to go because everything's been announced. And that'll be really awesome. We can have a whole speculative... I don't know, min-maxing show. It'll be great. I'll have call sign on.
You need to get Tenebris.
Get Tenebris from Death and Taxes. I'll have him on.
Yeah. Does he still play?
Yeah, he's in Death and Taxes. He's one of the main tanks in there. Anyway, there is that. Okay, so the next thing is accommodations, and this is really important that everybody understands this. As far as accommodation, yeah, sit really close.
Tell me, I gotta hear.
Tenebris.
There's Tenebris, yay! So when I used to raid with Nefarious Intent, watching Tenebris' comments on Twitch was the second best thing besides Krabsy's jokes. But anyway.
So
combinations.
About combinations, the big thing to understand is that all of your current accommodations, they're PvE accommodations, all of your current PvE accommodations that you have, even the ultimate ones, even the elite ones, even the planetary ones, they're all going to be made into basic comms. All of them. So that means that everything that you're doing right now, as far as Dread Fortress, Dread Palace, and all that kind of good stuff, if there's something that you absolutely need, buy it now. So
right, and planetary accommodations are going away completely to be replaced. So that as you level, you get basic comms, which is going to make leveling at 60 easy.
So you'll get basic comms instead of planetary. But you will, once everything is reset, you will be able to earn elite and ultimate comms again. The big question that we have, and I have not seen an answer to it yet. I'll be honest, I did not look today to see if they actually answered this question. We do not know if they're going to raise the cap or allow an overflow of basic comms. We don't know. I'm assuming that they're going to allow an overflow.
And the answer to the questions in chat is yes. All this is confirmed. Elites and ultimates being made into basic is confirmed. So when that happens, then you will have 0 elites and 0 ultimates, which is probably where the misunderstanding comes from. So let's say that you're at the cap of 400 elite and 300 ultimates right now. At that point, those are going to become 700 basics. Elites and ultimates become 0. Whatever you have in basics and planetary also do. And then, yes, planetary comms become basic comms. That makes them... And planetary comms go away. Like, they no longer exist as a thing. They will not be a thing anymore by December 10th.
Yeah.
Right? Or later in the day of December 9th, whenever that actually happens. They're not going to exist. So whatever you get on Now Hutta, right, is from doing heroics there, is going to be a basic comm. And just to quickly go back real quick, Tenebris, the joke was that, actually I wasn't joking, I don't know if Larry's joking. When Larry said that he's going to have a show about min-maxing the disciplines, and I was like, boring, have Tenebris on to talk all about the ins and outs of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't imagine they're not going to have an overflow.
Right. The big thing we don't know for certain. To be perfectly honest, I can almost guarantee they're going to do an overflow. If they don't, that's ridiculous. We don't know what.
You're still going to have 1,000 anyway. What are you going to do?
Exactly. We don't know the conversion rate. If there is going to be a conversion rate, I'm assuming it's going to just be 1-to-1, because we're talking about 55 gear that you can get with basic comms. So I'm assuming it's just going to be 1-to-1. Okay.
Yeah. Right now, I'm just okay. Anything else? What else is important? What else is fun?
I think that's it as far as that is concerned. We've seen some differences, and there's a lot of speculation that can happen about as far as the combat rotation is concerned. They have said that generally speaking that it's not. However, I don't know about that.
Kind of. What they said was that the feel of each class will feel the same. Of course, when you get a new ability at level 60 or whatever it is that we get it at, it's not going to be exactly the same. But okay, like right now, mercenary / commando, if you're playing as gunnery or arsenal or whatever, you basically have that 4-button rotation, right? It's a simple rotation, and the idea will be that you will still have a simple-ish rotation compared to Marauders, who use every key on the keyboard and an additional 20 on their mouse just for their basic.
Yeah, something like that. I think I don't know. I'm always concerned. I'm always concerned when they say, "Oh no, it'll be fine. Everything will be fine."
But see, that's why we're leveling up all the classes now.
Yeah.
So that if you're like at 6, you're like, you know what? I don't like the way this other class feels.
That's right.
Oh, I already have have another one that I can do at max level on this other class, and that's fine. And you just
here's the suggestion: if you have 12x XP, level up every single freaking class that you can.
Level all the things.
Level them all, because you might not like it after you hit level 60.
It's gonna be fine.
We'll see.
You know why it's gonna be fine? Because you defeated your nemesis.
Oh, yeah.
I like Damian Schubert just fine. But for those who don't know, Damian Schubert has departed BioWare, like, apparently under his own will, like, not got walked out or anything. Yeah. He hasn't figured out where he's going next, so I guess this was a career change for him. And this was the part that was news to me. Well, okay, that was news to everybody. But also that he said that he hasn't had anything to do with TOR in a while. Like, a lot of the stuff that's happened lately, he's been working on other things all this time.
I'm assuming that he's working on the Shadow Realms. I'm assuming that's what he was doing.
I seem to recall he was not, but I could be remembering that wrong. I think he was working on SWTOR 3.
You think he's...
That's right.
Confirmed.
SWTOR 3, not 2. 3.
Confirmed.
Confirmed. You heard it here first, folks. Republic.
So, Damian Schubert, who was the when SWTOR launched, was the lead systems designer. I think he was still considered the lead systems designer well into the life of SWTOR. He's no longer with the company, which he said I want to see guild capital ships. When guild capital ships happen, then he said he would leave. In fact, he said he actually has, if you go to ask.fm/Zen of Design, you can...
He's going crazy.
Yeah, he's answering lots of questions about TOR and about gaming in general, game design in general, gaming in general. I mean, pancakes, just about anything.
Dungeons and Dragons.
And seriously. Yeah, dead serious. And I think that it's really cool that he's doing that. He does. And where the rivalry comes in is that I have had a lot of criticism regarding Damian Schubert. And it has to do with a lot of the systems that I didn't like or I thought were broken. All kind of pointed to him as the lead designer. It doesn't necessarily mean that he actually did anything.
And he's not Larry's nemesis.
Yeah,
I'm joking about that. He's many of us have met him at community events. Larry, I know you have.
Yeah.
I've met him at community events, whatever, and he is, a genuinely nice guy. When people talk to him, even about stuff that's not about TOR in particular, he's a, helpful guy. People ask, well, how do I get into... every game developer in the world gets the "how do I get into making games" question, and he answers it gamely every time. So yeah,
he's a decent guy. He's one of the things that has always I've always kind of liked about Damian in general, about what he's what he does when he was on one of the panels for TOR, when he was doing this and that for TOR. He's always been really frank about what he's talking about, or whatever the situation. He's not one of those guys that, if there's something he can't mention, he will come right out and say, "Oh, I can't mention that." So it's not like...
Right, but if he's allowed to talk about it, he tells you exactly what he thinks.
Exactly. Yeah, he doesn't pull any punches, and I think that's really a rare thing to see in somebody that is allowed to be in front of people. So, and in front of the customers. So I wish him the best. I think I really hope he finds something really cool. And if you have not, I'm going through them right now, and he talks about everything. He even talks about Gamergate, for goodness sake.
He's been talking about, even before he left, he talked about Gamergate a lot.
Yeah, and
because he's not an asshole.
One of the things that here's a question that kind of I think will hit home. I'm kind of already beyond this question, but I know that a lot of people that are into TOR are still there, are still like, wow, what about that hero engine? You know, the thing that it seems to always be letting us down at every turn. And so he was asked a question about hero engine, and the question is, were you involved with the selection of the hero engine for SWTOR? Did you support this selection? Why or why not? And selection, and why or why not? And his answer was very, very interesting, and and again, I'll throw this back out here. He doesn't have to be positive. He's no longer working for BioWare.
All he has to do is not disparage the company. I'm sure there's a non-disparagement clause, and of course his NDA still holds, but this was not that sort of a thing.
Right, and he's also like I said, always been very frank. And this is what he said: this decision was made before I got there. In fact, the intro tutorials from Simu, which I'm not sure exactly what that means, happened. From Simu happened from my first or second week there. Hero was chosen because the world building tools were very solid, and when you're talking about making a BioWare game the size of 10 normal BioWare games, being able to start creating content very quickly is crucial. For that reason, I suspect we may have chosen HE, meaning Hero Engine, again, if we had to do it all over again with full knowledge. After the changes we made to the engine however, the changes we made to the engine likely would have been prioritized very differently. So basically, he's saying that they liked the Hero Engine, and he would still go with the Hero Engine because of the type of games that they're making.
And to be fair, I mean, having personally talked with him about code stuff, he is a coder. He is a software guy. He's not just which, to be clear, not all game designers are. Like, they all have to know some code, but a lot of times what they know much more is, level building and balancing and that sort of thing. And those are related but distinct skill sets. So the thing is that, and I've griped about this before in every number of places, a lot of folks who complain about game engines and about code and whatever are doing so from a place of what I will gently refer to as benign ignorance. And I don't mean ignorance in the colloquial, oh, you're ignorant sense. I mean, like, literally they don't know, right? Yep. And they're well-intentioned, but people, misunderstand what a game engine means, what code can be done. And this is born, okay, if you've ever seen those forum posts that are like, oh, you can totally code this in 5 lines of code in an afternoon. My cousin's a coder, and he told me so. I'm like, screw you, man. You have no idea. It's not the 5 lines of code. It's figuring out. It's like the proverbial, the plumber who tightens one valve and fixes the leak and charges $1,000, just knowing what that is, and then going through all the QA processes and review processes and all that stuff. So anyway, the engine itself is not necessarily the problem. With a lot of things, or when it is, it may still be the best available option. I mean, in an ideal world, there are a lot of things that are different in software. I mean, this is true for me in my work and my day job, because I don't make any money off of games. On the contrary, this is my money sink. But I do write code and analyze code and reverse engineer code and manage code and all of that. And so his answer lines up with what he has said, I can't remember off the record or on the record, before about the Hero Engine. I know when he was at the Community Cantina event here in Dallas, there was like a little discussion of about half a dozen of us talking about just software development in general, the kinds of things that people talk about when they've got a beer in their hand and they're talking about the kind of work they do and stuff. And I can't remember if it was off the record or on the record, but at this point it doesn't matter because he's gone. If he tells a player, then it's on the record as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, but that's the kind of opinion I've heard from a lot of other people who have been there or at least worked with it is, yeah, it's not perfect, but it doesn't. A lot of the problems that are in the game are not from the Hero Engine per se. Yeah.
All right. There is, and speaking of systems, and we'll close with this question, and this was one from our audience, from Facebook. Richard Salis said this. He said, will there finally be chat bubbles in the game?
That was actually where part of my discussion with Damien Schubert was about.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up. That's actually
about that. Because, okay, so for those of you who do any programming or whatever, the thing is that the way that it's because of nameplates and stuff, and the way they work now is you have a separate render call for each one of those, and that kind of is the fault of the engine, to be fair. And when they have done, quick little prototypes of chat bubbles, man, you think you have graphics lag now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and really what it takes is, I mean, and they admitted this, him and some of the other folks that were there, it takes allocating some resources for somebody to sit down and re-optimize that. Like he was talking about, prioritizing the changes they make to the engine. That's the sort of thing that they're talking about. They would have to prioritize somebody sitting down and doing that, and it going through QA and testing and regression fixes and all that kind of thing. And you do that, and bam, you have chat bubbles. And I'm with you. I want them as much as anybody. And wouldn't it be awesome if that's the great unannounced thing in 3.0? I don't think it is, but it would be awesome.
From my understanding of it, based off of things that Damien has said and other people as well, not just Damien, other people that have worked with systems, is that the number of calls that a graphic takes is part of the reason, and this by the way, just is people that worked with the Hero Engine, people that have decompiled SWTOR, people that have and then off the SWTOR devs as well. So this is kind of combination of what all three of those guys have said. And basically, from my understanding, the way it works is it doesn't just when you call a graphic, it doesn't just call one thing. It goes to a database to call this, and checks it with this, checks it against that, and then goes over here to this database, checks it against a couple other things, and then it pops it up on the screen. And I mean, we see things instantaneously, but really there's multiple calculations going on for a single thing to appear on the screen. And with that kind of thing, with that many chat bubbles, let's say 20 people in the same spot, that's a lot of calls to a database, and that's the reason why that's an issue. And it does go back to the Hero Engine, and in order for, and it's not
this thing does.
Yeah, this particular thing does, and that's not to say that we can't ever have chat bubbles. It's just that it would, at this point in the age of the game, the return on the investment, because we're investing time at this point. Now, we don't have.
Well, if they charge 2,000 cartel coins for the ability to have chat bubbles, then maybe it would be worthwhile. Which is actually what I told them, a year and a half ago or whatever.
Yeah. So I think. Now I don't think we're going to see it very soon, because the amount of people that would benefit from it. Honestly, here's the thing with that from a monetary perspective. From monetary perspective, if you add chat bubbles to the game, is it going to bring somebody back? And how many people is it going to bring back? I mean,
at this point, not that.
Right.
Like I said, you have to, in order for them to be worthwhile, they'd have to charge for it, and then you'd have a lot of people who, understandably, I would pay for it, but I understand a lot of people would be like, "What are you talking about? That's like a core feature of the game. Why should I have to pay for that?"
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're wrong by any stretch. I think it's ticky-tack that you have to pay for stinking action bars and whatever.
Right.
Now. But that's not my decision to make.
Yeah.
We already have a Hell companion. It's Eric Jorgen. I just want a little pretty bow to put in his hair so he can feel pretty. Because that man's been through a lot. He deserves to feel pretty.
He totally has. All right. Well, that is the show for today. Thank you very much, Kyle, for coming in. You can catch Kyle on Twitter at
You can catch me on Twitter at Technoscald. You can also catch me on Google Plus when I'm not irritated with Twitter, which happens sometimes, like right now. But yeah.
And you need to get a blog. Start
I have a blog, but I do, but it's not about Torch.
You have to get a gaming blog. Get a gaming blog. Yeah, or
that's fine.
Yeah, there you go. All right, I am, of course, Larry Everett. You can catch me on Twitter at Shadow, and I'm also here every day, actually, on GameBreaker and on Hyperspace Beacon, both. Hyperspacebeacon.com. I write about Star Wars: The Old Republic and right now Star Wars Rebels, and of course the new Star Wars movie coming out that has a subtitle. Yeah, it's The Force Awakens, which actually leads into... Never mind, I won't get into that joke. We'll tell it later. So
yes, the Force has been asleep and now it's awake.
Exactly.
What a dad joke.
Of course. And also follow GameBreaker at GameBreaker TV. And right now they are doing a party on the GameBreaker channel at BlizzCon, and we'll be covering BlizzCon on GameBreaker this weekend, Friday, tomorrow. You're probably watching on Friday, but anyway, we'll Friday and Saturday, catch all the news there on GameBreaker TV, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.